Good day and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI tournament. We have got 2 games from the AIIDE tournament, which was won by SSCAIT Chris Cokes. Congratulations. The main reason that we haven't got all of the games, or at least a selection out of all of the games, is that all of the games was 17 GB and my connection to the World Wide Web, living in a third world country called the Netherlands, isn't all that great. So when I started to download it this morning, it's still going, and it's been going for hours. So that's a bit disappointing. I haven't got the university's connection to do that little trick for me, and up until now my connection has been satisfactory, but obviously for now it isn't. Should have downloaded it earlier, but I really didn't know it would be so slow, so sorry you've got that. I'll keep that warm for you. I will go through it and either make a discrete broadcast about that or do it next week, I don't know. So this was one of the games I got suggested by Dan, and Dan Gant, the author of Purple Wave, and it was playing against the good old carrier bot called XIMP, the first one to do a Forge Fast Expand, a strategy which we have seen more and more recently, because the Protoss bots really need that second base safely to get out any kind of army. And he said, well, this was the first time I actually hard-coded a specific build order versus a specific opponent. I'm not proud of it, but it should be good for a laugh, and with that kind of description, I'm sure you've got my fancy tickled. Now, a couple of gateways and the core. And of course XIMP is doing the cannon-y stuff with the starports. We'll see a fleet beacon momentarily. Oh, let me slow it down because something's... oh no, it's a scouting probe. Third base being taken, a couple of pylons there. And that's a lot of gateways. And actually not that many units, it's 0 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 gateways. 0 army. 4th base, still 0 army, build order. So if that's hard-coded, there must be something coming. XIMP on the other end has started its 4th fleet beacon, I suppose, the starport, and there must be a fleet beacon somewhere. 1, 2, 3, is that 5? I don't know. Oh, that's the fleet beacon, I thought that was another starport. So fleet beacon done, first 2 carriers prepping, and still no army from Purple Wave. This is the 3rd base, natural. Oh god. Okay, so with the Templar Archives and yet 0 army, there are 3 ways which you can go about this. And I must say, both ways are really late. Either you do so... oh god. Yep, there we go. Dark Archon coming up. And if we take a peek, because I haven't got a unit portrait screen... oh, that's another one. I can't really see what the Templar Archive is doing, but I've got a vague suspicion. Oh no, that's the energy upgrade. Oh god, what kind of build order is this? First 2 carriers are out, and there is 18 army supply worth of Dark Archons and Dark Templar, which are mulling about and gathering energy. And now you got mind control coming up, oh god. And XIMP looks like it's going for a 3rd base. And now the first 4 carriers are coming out. And, well, I don't think these guys have enough energy. And besides, the mind control isn't done yet. So this is very, very, very slow mind control attempt. But that's 34 supply, and then the entire enemy army consists of 7 Dark Archons, 3 Dark Templars, and they are mulling about, haven't got enough energy. I'd say with the energy upgrade they need about 3/5 of the way down for a mind control, or exactly that to be precise. And it's good that these carriers have got some time to deal with the probes which are fleeing. Dark Archons which are fleeing too, but oh god, no, no, they've got a lot of shields, but oh god, and these are the ones with the most energy, so they got trapped. This one is not going to make it, oh that's a pity. And the carriers are Oh god, is this going to work at all, I wonder? Because there are going to be a lot more carriers. Third base for Ximp is up, and oh god, more infrastructure, that's always good. But I feel that there is going to be a lot of Dark Arc and snipage before we'll see a single mind control. Oh god. Oh god, yeah, this one cannon isn't going to do it. And the question now is, where are all the Dark Arc? Here are a couple. Their shields are still somewhat intact. This is 1-2, army supplies 36, that's not an awful lot. But I think, yeah, this one dies again, so basically all the full Dark Archons are going to be shot down before they can accumulate enough energy. And Purple Wave, oh god, has done lots of bases into Dark Archon build order, and then moves the Dark Archons into harm's way. That obviously is not going to work at all. The selection bug, as you can see, has been fixed. The problem is though that the last batch of carriers, there are now 2 groups of carriers out, and the Dark Archon still have got to mind control a single one of them. But if these suckers keep out of the way, they might eventually... Oh god, they're going to get caught up between the buildings and die. Oh, that's one! Oh, I missed that, sorry. No. Yeah, here we go. So the problem is these guys have an awful long range, so I've got to keep an eye on them. And here are 4. One of these will... Yeah, that was the... I didn't know who did it, but that's the first carrier caught by by Purple Wave. Oh, here was the Dark Archon. Of course, it doesn't really live long, but it's one less carrier for Ximp. And it still lives. It's got some basic micro, and it's actively attacking the carriers. The carriers do prioritize... I don't know what they prioritize. Perhaps the interceptors, perhaps the cannon. And this carrier's... Yeah, well, it can't do much. But where are the other mind controls going to come from? 3 carriers in the middle of the base being attacked by this one. The leash micro from this carrier is absolutely astounding. But these 4 carriers are going to come in as well. And that's going to be a mess. On the other end of the map, Purple Wave taking more bases. Ximp, of course, has got its 3 and is now building... What's it building? Oh, it must be Arbiter Tribunal. Oh, and another one got caught, but immediately shot down by these 6 carriers, meanwhile. And you can see they are taking quite a bit of damage from this one carrier. It's an absolute mess. There are a couple of Dark Archons, I'd say, with enough energy, but they don't really dare to get into range of these carriers. And although the entire infrastructure has been rebuilt here, I dare say this is a messy way to hard code a hard counter build order, and more carriers are gathering. Oh, though that's not this must be the Arbiter Tribunal. And no more carriers. Oh, that's another one, but it's... Oh, another one! 3. It's now 3 versus 5, and with some decent micro, perhaps you can do something in any... And there must be more energy in these. Oh, they haven't got energy yet, and the production of Dark Templar in the middle of this battle doesn't really help them out all that much. But the carrier micro by Purple Wave seems to be quite decent. Oh, there goes another Dark Archon. That's really sloppy. Yeah, this cannon's not going to live long, obviously, and the other Dark Archons are cornered. So now it's 3 versus 4, and these 2 are occupied with the Dark Archons and the cannon. So perhaps one of these carriers will finally fall. This carrier is a little bit ballsy, and the Dark Archon count is pretty low, but more are coming, and from the long way they've got to float, I'd say they can... Oh, this one's caught? No, surely not. They have got to... yeah, that's another one. And now I think that Purple Wave has got a nice carrier army. It's got 4 of his own, so it's 4 on 4. Unfortunately, 2 more just came in, and there must be more coming, I'd say. Or is it going... because if Ximp spots air units, it's going to go for Corsairs. So might be Corsairs, but no, it's just going to be carrier after carrier, and they're going to be floated in one at a time. And now Purple Wave's got a pretty decent army actually. Another one gets caught. And this carrier on carrier action is quite impressive. The purple one is going to die. And these two are going to die as well, because the carrier fleet for Purple Wave is going to get right out of control. And these two... no, they don't even make interceptors. What the hell is that about? There are no interceptors in Sims carriers anymore. And you can see these 4 carriers of Purple Waves are doing quite well. And I'd say you might capture another one. This one, yep, and there we go. So now it's 5. And the downside to this is that Purple Wave is quickly going to run out of supply. It will have a carrier army, but the Dark Archons will sort of get... oh, god, another one. And right in time to demolish these cannons before they get up. 3 more coming, and the Dark Archon thing in pursuit. And I don't know what the hell these carriers are doing. This must be the... they are attacking, but they don't appear to have the weapons upgrade. And of course, Sim has got... let me have a look at that. No air weapons for Purple Wave. And +2 at least shields for... oh god, and here come the Corsairs. This is not going to go well. And now the Dark Archons go on a crusade to kill the cannon wall, which obviously is not going to work. I don't know what that's about. There must be some kind of error. They might help out here, and you can see Ximp understands the concept of a carrier pretty well. It does attack the hull of the mothership and not the interceptors. Same goes for the Corsairs. And I'm going to speed it up just a notch, because it's going to be absolutely crazy, because the Dark Archons here are not going to get anything done. The Dragoon obviously, nah. And yeah, what? Supply-wise, Purple Wave way ahead. Sim mining out, main and the natural, building some extra cannons just for good measure. Has got 2 more bases, so if this is going to be a war of attrition with all the Dark Archon here. Oh, now it's, yeah, but ooh. They might have just all been feedbacked or mind controlled. And then Purple Wave would have a huge army of Corsairs and Dark Archons, which sadly don't do very well against cannons or any other kind of land-based unit. Okay, so we've got a lot of Corsairs, and by a lot I mean a lot. How many have we got? We've got 13 Corsairs. Oh, the carrier production is going to resume with a carrier in tow this time. Oh, and we've got, yeah, watch out, mister. Where is the Arbiter? The Arbiter... oh, the Arbiter's there. And the Reavers are going to take down this base rather methodically. And I want to see... oh god. Another carrier being caught. Oh, everything's being captured, but where is the Arbiter? There must be more mind controls left for the Arbiter, but now the Protoss, oh, the Nexus falls, and the Corsairs of course can't do very well against the Reavers. This one carrier though can, and it's some carry-on-carry action. Of course one of them is cloaked, and now the Dark Archons have decided to support this carrier in the destruction of that base, but the carrier, the Reaver, this Reaver's micro is messed up. So, oh, the Reavers are now being left alone because this one carrier creates a bit of a distraction. Look at all the Corsairs still, that's really outrageous. And oh god, this game is absolutely awful. The Reavers have got the most atrocious micro. They behave like mutas and they get into range. Oh, that probe. No, you don't attack a carrier if you're a probe. That doesn't work. This base is being sandwiched by 2 groups of Reavers, or a group of... oh, that's 2 is technically still a group. And this base is being torn down by 3 Reavers. And... oh god, no! Oh no! This game is so awful on so many levels. But it seems like Ximp is getting the shorter end of the stick. It's got a lot of money, but isn't building anything for some reason. And Purple Wave's got a lot of money as well, is sort of maxed. And is now tearing down every last probe of Ximp's. 1 left, yeah. And the last carrier fleet. And there are interceptors, so that's good. Now the Dark Archons are coming up on this fortress of cannons. And they're going to take a lot of hits, because I don't know. Okay, so Reavers are going to tear down the assimilator. I'm going to speed it up just a notch because it's going to take forever. Oh, this base sort of held. Oh, and will we now see... Oh god, they are not... They are... Oh, they are in... Oh no! They are in range of the carriers, but they somehow think they've got to deal with the cannons, and the Reavers are being too slow, and Sims... Oh god, no. Look at the amount of supply being wasted, but with all the infrastructure that Purple Wave's got at this point, it can rebuild everything almost instantly, because it's got a complete a factory of gateways here, and all the infrastructure. Oh, and another lot of gateways and robo-bays. Oh god, and they're going to crawl over. The Dark Archons now have taken possession of this base with one goon, and this base has been cleared, so now... Oh, and they don't really want to capture the Arbiter, so these carriers are invisible. And it doesn't really work like that. So the carriers save this base once again. Purple Wave taking this expansion. It's got a lot of money, and the Reavers are just coming in regardless, being killed. And oh, well, that was... They got off about 2 shots. And the Dark Archon... Oh god. This is the most atrocious battle I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot. These are 2 hard-coded build orders, and... Oh, I think... No, Xim's not going to mine out. It's got 2 bases. The carriers, the Dark Archons are now here. The Reavers are here again, and there they are again. The Dark Archons are going to get killed because they don't really like Arbiters, and, well, the carriers are invisible to them. Will we get... What is Xim building? Xim isn't building anything. It's sort of out of money. Oh, yeah, it's just stocking up money. And Purple Wave spending its huge bank. These 2 bases still haven't been taken. No bot to do that. Ooh, yeah, and the Arbiter is finally taken. And now we've got a host of... Oh god, you can do more. Oh no, they've mind-controlled every single last one of them. For a moment we had 203 army supply for Purple Wave. But we've got a host of cloaked Dark Archons with a couple of Reavers. And this is the wackiest game I've seen in a long time. Long time. So now the carriers have sort of got this. Interceptors die, Observer dies. And... Yep, that was this base. And now... Oh, I think this is over, because Xim doesn't really have the money anymore. It's losing bases. Oh, but... oh god, it's going to rebuild once more. This goon racking up a lot of kills, but this base is still sort of mining, and... Oh well, good. I'm going to speed it up just a notch at 8 times the speed, because this game might eventually end. Compliments to both players for not crashing in all this madness. The Reaver and Dark Archon army, supported by a captured Arbiter, is victorious. This base is out. And yeah, if you are going to long distance mine, it's not really going to work, is it? Oh god, so many probes lost. And the Reavers sort of do a half-assed job of deconstructing this base. Now going to come back to here. And the probes and the Reavers and the Dark Archons with the Arbiter. And oh, this base is... No! There is still a pylon left. And the Goon is killing the last observers, sort of. Perhaps. Maybe. This is really... This game's been so wacky on so many fronts. Eventually this will happen, right? And the last... No, forget about it. We'll just leave it alone. And now the Dark Archons are blocking the path of the Reavers. And the Reavers are having a hard time. Xim's out, he's got no more money left, got a lot of gas, but what can you do? Build High Templars, perhaps. And that was the game. Purple Wave, nearly maxed. The Reavers are doing this. I will call the GG. Oh dear, let's not have any of that again. And another game I got recommended was Purple Spirit, the Terran venture of Dan Gant, the author of Purple Wave, which we just saw, Purple Spirit versus Zer. And I got recommended that by someone because it was good. And I don't know what the story about this game was, but the story of the last game was really wacky, and oh god, here we go again. Gas steal, and pardon me for speeding up these initial stages so much, because I just haven't got that much to talk about, and nothing much is happening anyway. So the gas steal is still there, and these SCVs obviously don't know what to do with it, and no combat units built either. So Purple Wave getting off to a nice start, turning the aggression into a that's harsh. Just neglecting the lead you've got by placing 2 defensive structures. And finally, these Marines don't really they don't understand it for some reason, and perhaps that's one of the reasons I got recommended this game. We've got a couple of Hydras coming up which will morph into Lurkers. Of course there will be the, oh god, will there be detection at all? No, of course not, because oh, there is a factory, because gas has been mined at the natural. That's good. And now the bio balls are going to sacrifice them. Oh, the balls, the swarms are going to go over the map. More are coming. Drone count pretty low for Zer. 40 at the end of Purple Spirit. And finally the SCVs decide that they want to tear down that extractor. And that's going to take a while. Meanwhile, this army is being sort of contained by these 4 lurkers which aren't doing anything else. And that makes me wonder if this replay viewer is not bugged, but both players are still... Oh god, sorry, I missed that. The lurkers are moving in, and now there is ample detection, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. And the tank is going to do the honors to break down the extractor. A refinery is immediately being built, and the tank had better move up to here, because this is going to be a hard attack, and some repair is urgently needed. Repair is there in the nick of time, and I think with the tank and the Marine shit. Oh god! What are they doing? Good god, stay in there. And okay, this is not a good day for coherent StarCraft. It seems we've got a Wraith, and we've got these Marines sacrificing themselves to the Lurker. The SCPs are doing their best. It's just out of range, and this turret is going to do wonders for Terran. We've got 2 Wraiths, which is good, and no third base for Zer, so that I find really sloppy. 18 workers still. Could have taken the map behind all of this. And now we've got a mild Lurker contain. No siege mode yet. No god, going to stim him. Oh, no. Okay, Purple Spirit having some issues. Lots of neuters, or a handful of neuters. And basically that's everything you can get of 2 bases. Lots of turrets being built. I don't know what that's for. Still 2 Wraiths, more Wraiths, and looks like a hard Wraith switch. Going to turn down the volume a little bit, because these Marines have gone absolutely crazy. And now Zerg is coming to kill the Wraiths, which I'd say is a good thing. And now the scan runs out, and oh god, still no third base from either player, and that I find really strange. More Wraiths are being built, but they're being lost as well. But we've got quite a nice air army with the Valkyrie too. So I think these mutants have had their day, and Zer still hasn't got a third base. Oh, here comes the third base. Hello! Rather late third base. Goes back again. Is sent again, waiting for minerals. Now the minerals are there. And a third base. So hopefully Zer can hold a little bit before this Terran army rolls out and wipes it off the map. Because although the supply is not that great, Zerg's only got half a Lurker, 2 Lurkers widely spaced out, handful of Wraith. Oh god. Oh no. Where is the scout? Oh no. No! And then they go back! And forth! And back! And forth! Oh no! And the Overlord's still there, and no one... Oh god, I'm deeply impressed by the level of ZVT we are seeing, and similarly impressed by the level of TVZ we are seeing. This lurker is having a field day, and what the first one didn't finish, the two at the rear do. Nah, you can't be serious. So third base for Zur is finally finishing up-ish. Terran's still in there, but with this level of Terran play, oh well, finally the mutas are going to be kicked off the map. That will be something. And the land army, oh, one scan, that's good. One scan, and half the Terran army dies, and there are two more lurkers here. But the air army for Terran has been doing rather well. And this base is going to defend itself. The problem for Zerg is that this poultry army is being swept off the map by the Terran air forces, and a couple of lurkers in the middle of the map are still holding. Oh god, you've only got two comsats really, so you can't. And that's the good thing about these lurkers being so spaced out. They can't really be caught by multiple scans, because the scans are. You've got to scan one lurker here, and then one there, and the next one will be somewhere over here, and oh well, the air army is there, so now it's going to go well, only if there weren't a handful of Hydras racking up huge bills in Wraith repair costs and ultimately dead Wraiths. The third base is up-ish, and the lurkers are going to advance. There is nothing much left here. So that's going to be unfortunate. Is there a tank? There is no tank. And yep, there we go. So with the scans, this is wearing out scans as well. So these wraiths they've got cloak, and the overlords aren't there. And this game is fully bizarre. Third base up, nice concave for Purple Spirit, so money-wise it's going to be okay. But there are three lurkers, they are called, in the choke, and they are killing so many marines and SCVs, it's not funny. But more marines are coming, and there are no. Oh, there is one lurker here, and a couple of sunkens. A muta force is gathering. There is a hive, and what's this going to be? I think a hatchery for more larvae. And slowly but surely, Zur is going. Yeah, fourth base is gathering steam. The supplies are about equal. No, that's not a Nidus. Would have been a nice place for a Nidus, but. And I really don't know what to think of this game anymore. It's just too bizarre, and these three lurkers. Oh, one might get. Oh, look at the damage they do. Let's look at the upgrades. They've got +2 armor and no damage upgrades, so they can take quite a bit of pounding from these marines. Fourth base for Zur is up. Third base for Purple Wave, Purple Spirit is up. And this has been the greatest SCV massacre of, well, this broadcast so far. But it's absolutely horrendous. This Zergling just runs straight into the base. And now oh look, wow, we've got a bit of a muta problem on our hands. At least if you're a Terran. If you're a Zerg, that's quite good news. And these three lurkers are still demolishing the base. One tank would have settled this hours ago. But no such luck. And now the muta train is coming in and is going, I think, to take this base by storm. And yep, there it goes. Lots of damage being taken, but also lots of damage being dealt. And now these lurkers, oh, they're going to come after the barracks first. And ooh, they might do wonders here. They could kill all of these SCVs in an instant. The mutas are just so many, they can't be killed forever. There is a Wraith, but there also is an Overlord. Fourth base for Zerg is up, and you can now see the streams units. Oh, we've got an Ultra Cavern too, so that's nice. The mutas are sort of finally petering out. This barracks still isn't down. And the lurkers, I think one lurker has gotten killed from behind. But now the Lings are there, the bunker is down, and these lurkers might advance, but they are not doing so. Perhaps with the Lings and the mutas in tandem, going after the turrets, and this natural will soon be undefended. Zur being a bit slow about taking yet another base. Will we see Ultras, another lurker? just random units advancing upon the enemy, and the natural's overrun, the main is overrun. The third is still mining, but if you've got 1 versus 46 army supply, you will be hard pressed to mount an effective defense. And another base being taken by Zer. So Zer being quite alright, but a little bit slow on the macro, and its build order is outright ridiculous. But I think I'm going to call the GG and get into the rest of the game. And let me put one up. It's going to be, oh, it's Purple Spirit again versus Sparks this time. I want to talk to you about the rankings. We've got a new bot, Willbot, and more about that later. But the ELO rating is well, quite obviously in favor of krasi0. He's almost 200 points up on Iron. I took one Iron versus krasi0 game to demonstrate that, and krasi0 Terran is catching up on Iron pretty much. And then it's a small gap to basically the rest of the pack. Purple Waves there, Protoss, so strong showing. Willbot with the very strong gateway pushes. Killerbot is out there, and Eric Hammer is back despite not having received an update. He's back, but the difference are so small. It's 1.1 point. These are about equal. krasi0 Zerg is there. Got a 4-pooler in there, and Literbot, a random Hammer, krasi0 again, a Zealot push. Another version of Literbot. Oh, well, that wasn't really what I... Oh, alright, yeah, it's... If it starts a new game, it will reset, so it's good. Well, Literbot, random Hammer, another Literbot, Sheng by Jiang, and that's a Zerg. It's about aggression with a simple unit called the Zergin. Xim, still up there, Microwave, Anrik, Kurdyamov, McRae, B-Reaver, and these two Protoss are really not coming into their stride, having to have so many players above them. So that's basically the top of the pack. Top 5, krasi0, Iron, krasi0, that's again a block of Terran. And then it's krasi0, then the rest, then these Terrans, and then the rest. 2 Protoss, 3 Protoss, and a Zerg. And then come the rest of the Zergs and mingle them with Protoss and Iron, Literbot. So, let's have a good TVT. The TVZ we had last game didn't turn out too well. That was a bit of what has fashionably been called a potato game. So we have a nice TVT, and oh, I've got to love OpenBW to 32 times the speed. And now we've got some kind of mixed stuff with Marines, a tank and a Wraith, going to take down a scouting SCV, and that's quite well done. So map control for the time being is for Purple Spirit, and Sparks is struggling because it hasn't got the map. SCV count is falling, army count's about equal, and Purple Spirit just taking the early stage of the game. The Wraith taking a lot of damage, and this army is flapping about too much. So the Wraith, oh, the Wraith getting off a nice scout and everything. That, oh, that's not too cleverly done. But now Sparks with the extra unit production. Oh, and the tank will it? One shot. Oh yes, it will probably live. And with the repair, that is a miracle. Aggressive. Oh, and now it's going to... Ah, no. It was such a brilliant play to push down the Terran called Sparks in his own base, but didn't really work. And this tank, oh, they pull back again. That's unfortunate. This tank doing so much damage. And that might be the deciding factor, because the natural for Purple Spirit has been up. This natural still has some troubles coming off the ground, and with siege mode, I think Purple Spirit is in an excellent position to exert its dominance on the rest of the game. There should be an SCV somewhere to repair this tank, and not venture out, and oh well, the Wraith needs repair too, that's a valid point. And now this tank is going to be repaired, so the natural being torn down, Sparks under a lot of pressure. What can it do? Some good tank micro, but we've already seen that. Oh god, there is a minefield, let's not have that again. We've already seen that the tank micro for Purple Spirit is a lot better, but these Goliaths finally have found a way. They move up to the tank, that's very well done. And now they fall to the Marines, and the Wraith, oh, the Wraith kicks it too, that's good. SCV wise, Purple Spirit way ahead, and just pestering Sparks all over the map. Sparks really struggling, not really getting an army off the ground. And now finally clearing its base with a Goliath and some mech units. But there is a counter mining operation going on, and that's always dangerous if you haven't got scans or any Okay, well that was close. So now Sparks back in control of its own natural. It should mount some kind of a defense with some siege tanks and stuff like that. And perhaps finish that, because this has been going on way too long. Purple Spirit hasn't really been as dominant because it's bringing Marines and Vultures to a tank and Goliath fight. That obviously doesn't really work all that well. But for the time being, I'd say that Purple Spirit has got the upper hand in this matchup. Now, that was really tough. And Sparks is going to push, but there is a minefield and there is a constant influx of units of Purple Spirits. Army supply-wise, it's still okay. The natural's not up. That's going to be a problem in the long run. And this minefield, oh god. Yep, tank down. Wraith is doing some damage. Not too much, but enough. And this is a bit of a second comsat finishing up. 2 starports. Could take another base because it's got map dominance. And this is really unusual for a TVT because the tanks rarely siege, and if they do, they are coming into yeah, this one isn't sieging either, and these Goliaths aren't protecting the tank. There is no scan, so it's devolving into a bit of a cat fight. Now one tank finally sieging up, going to take down this command center and do some suppressing fire on the rest of the units. Tank catches one, and mines all over the place. Third base being taken for Purple Spirit. Purple Spirit with a nice aggressive build, but it's going to take forever to catch up to the big guys like krasi0, Iron and Willbot if you're going to play in this fashion, because it's just too aggressive and it's not really capitalizing on the strengths of Terran, i.e. siege tank range. Now Sparks seems to be in a hopeless position. Supply is about half of that of Purple Spirit. SCV wise it's okay, but the base is mining out. The natural is sort of being, well, it's completely overrun by now. And there are 2 tanks up, and I don't really see why you build so many Marines and Vultures if you're playing TVT, but let's not speculate on the motives of the mighty, because Dan Gand obviously knows what he's doing. SCV transfer going on. Wraith production has come to a standstill, but there are just so many units by now. The army is 4 times that of Sparks. The tanks are keeping surprisingly in the rear. And the one Wraith that's still left is doing some damage, and there are a lot of mines all across this map, but with 3 versus 1 bases and the 1 base mining out, that's not going to be a fair fight at all. So, going to call the GG and get into the next game. And the next game is Microwave, the Valiant Zerg. Ooh, there we go. Well, this is a Terran theme, and we have a TVP, so that doesn't really make sense. Hatch first, and Flash is going to do its 2 base aggression. It always does. But it's very good at it, so that's interesting. 2 Sunkens, and they are quite nicely placed. I usually say that's quite a bit of overkill to build 2 Sunkens before you've scouted the enemy. But versus Flash you might as well, and you might just, for good measure, make this a block of 8, because there is going to be come a lot of gateway action into your natural. Worker wise, Flash at 16, Microwave at 9, and Microwave is attacking really hard, and I wonder why these Zergs are attacking so hard and they are defending so hard, but they're not really making a lot of drones, making a lot of units. A couple of Zerglings are driving the Zealots back, but this is just too many Zealots at this point. Might take a bite at this scouting probe, but for now it's going to be a standoff in the middle of the map. Is there any? Yep, that looks like a cybernetics core, so goons are coming to come in as well. So it's 1 base pressure by Flash, and that's a very quick lair for Microwave. Microwave on 16 workers, having caught up there a little bit. Going to need some gas though, I think, because if you're going for a quick lair, how are you going to do that without gas? Ideally, you'd have another hatchery about here, or anywhere else. There's a good place to for some extra larvae, and then you can really crank out the drones. And now you've got a lair, but you've got no gas and no tech, so you've got to wait for something else. And meanwhile, the main conflict is devolving, because there aren't only zealots, there are also dragoons. And Flash sticking to one base with 3 gates. A little bit aggressive, but not going to work in the long run, I feel. Probe count is okay, still pumping drones. As a Protoss, that's so easy because you've just got that Nexus dedicated. And then if you do take a natural, you can instantly transfer 10 or 15 drones and you're okay. Zergling numbers are quite good, and as long as there is no +1 for Protoss, you might pick a fight. Question though is, what is Microwave going to do for tech? Is it going to be a Hydra Den, or is it going to be a Spire? Small skirmishes in the middle of the map, but neither player really wanted to commit to a large-scale attack. No natural still from Flash, and that's really boggling me. He should really think about taking one. It's got the map dominance. Zerg can't really touch this, and Zerg's going for a lot and a lot of Zerglings, which will be basically worthless as soon as +1 hits. Then again, if you build some upgrades for your Zerglings, they will become worth more if you've got them in these numbers. And the scouting probes not going to come in. Oh, and these muters are going to come in handy. We've got a Spire and still 2 bases, so really low tech to hatch. Oh no, man, you can't do that. And then the goons come in. Yeah, you can micro down 2 goons with 2 muters, but taking a lot of damage, that's really not how it's done, and they're just going to come in for more. You could easily have killed... Oh, that's a really beautiful concave. Look at that. It's just like a dance. It's so beautiful. It is... Oh, we need one more. No, they're just lining up for the next. Okay, well, sorry about that. These 2 muters... Oh, the one is dead, because goons beat muters hands down in a game of goons and... goons paper muters, but there you go. No 3rd base from Microwave, and that's really something you could do. You could learn from the really good Zerg like Killerbot and TSEMU Zerg. If you give them a finger, they'll take the map and run you down with everything they've got. And this constant wiggling in and out with the goons and with the Zerglings, I don't like either. Flash not really intent on... What's this one doing? On taking another base. Now even losing pylons, that's going to be a problem. And these Zerglings, whoa, what the... Okay, let's look at the upgrades. No upgrades. We've got Zergling speed and Zergling armor is coming to come up as well. 3 hatches. Worker numbers are okay. Take another base, because you... This really is... This Protoss army is getting really out of control, and the muters are... Oh, they've been in among the workers, so the worker numbers are severely depressed. They get out before the goons come in, and Protoss is really not feeling safe. Now going for some kind of attack, and Zerg might still lose this, because that's a lot of gateway units. Good heavens. And the mutant numbers are not sufficient, I feel, to take down these goons. And look at this beautiful, beautiful... It's like watching the electrons on the inside of a cell align. It's so beautiful. It's... Oh, okay, well. 3rd base finally being taken by Microwave. Might take a 4th as well. And it will need some kind of hard-hitting units, because this Goon and Zealot army is going to wipe it off the map. And it's all been done of 1 base. Protoss is not really remaking the... Oh, it is remaking the workers, but it's going to take forever. And Zerg with the 3rd base operational. Oh, can't transfer the drones because it doesn't know about this minerals thing, and oh, unfortunate. Lots of Zerglings dying too, so the army supply is in favor of Flash. And even if there are no weapons upgrades... Oh, heavens. Oh, heavens, this Zerg fighting is one of the... and there has been a bit of a muter run by into the middle of the main, and all the buildings are dead. Now they're engaging the goons, and they are moving out. But Flash has got 86 army supply, it's got to make do with that. And if it's not going to do anything with that, it's going to lose, because Zerg's got 3 mining bases, the main's still mining 2. And that's the Queen's Nest, where we see a hive, yep, momentarily. And that's the 3 base hive, a 4th base coming up. And now, yeah, that was that. Okay, so Microwave finally running over Flash. And what I also look at from time to time is when these bots have last been updated. Of course, we've got Brian Weber, which is nice to see. Force bot from Delft being updated, good to see as well. Willbot, but I saw an update. Oh God, of Gambot by Lamont, and that's a more macro play. So let's look at that. And I thought, well, let's have as an opponent Cha Seung-guk from Korea. And Cha Seung-guk, of course, the valiant Terran. Oh, I love this OpenBW player. It's getting so much better every time. Yeah. Okay, so Cha Seung-guk being a little bit passive, just making a couple of Marines, not positioning them at the ramp or at the choke, which may invite scouting Zerglings up to your ramp. And here come the first 2 scouting Zerglings, 3rd base being taken by Gambot. And that's 3 bases being taken already in the face of only a handful of Marines and no tech, so I really don't know what that's about. And now the Marines are coming off the barrack line to help and defend. And more Zerglings are coming up. So, what will we see? Hydra Den, 3rd base finishing, no 4th base for Zerg yet. And the Marines are coming off the scout, and they're going to do some damage because Zerg really hasn't got that much of an army. No micro at all for these Marines, oh god. But the Zerg army is really puny at this point. This base has been found, that might just be the saving grace, because there is nothing mining here yet. And these Zerglings might just find a handful of Marines. They have got the speed upgrade, so... yeah. That's not going to work. At the other end we see the first factory, another depot, and just lots of Marines. Marines are good, and this drone is not going to pay for itself. This one isn't either. That's unfortunate, another base being taken. More bases looks like being taken by Zerg. And with the Hydra then there, perhaps a lurker play might come in handy. Lots of gas for Zerg. Next, the hatch being torn down. 2 Marines keep an outpost in the middle of the map. And Marines are trickling in one at a time. What are these? These are scouting Zerglings, which are just... Yep, there you go. And if these Marines are going to find the base, it will mean that the entire Terran army... Oh, the Terran army is coming to come back. And that's really strange, because Cha Seung-guk is a puny army. Isn't really building anything, just spending a lot of money on upgrades and construction, but hasn't got the army at all. And Gambot I really like, because it's more aggressive. It's taking bases earlier. It lost one already, but it's got 3 operational now. The 4th is being brought into production, and the natural of Cha Seung-guk is not really going to work. 2 vultures come off the high ground to defend. 2 factories available now, but with this Hydra Zergling thing, and you can see just how many units are being filtered in, 1 at a time, 2 at a time. And it just bases being taken, and this is... Nope. I thought that was... Yeah, there it goes. That's the hatchery. And, ooh, the vultures, with the help of the Wraith, just barely do it. And from the high ground, I think they can hold on for a little while longer, but you can see where this is going, because... It's the drone numbers are okay. There are only 33, but they are harvesting at maximum efficiently, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, soon to be 5 bases with only 30 workers. And although Terran's got quite sturdy units, it's... Oh, another base, wow. Nothing there. This handful of vultures is not going to do things forever, and these Zerglings are just going to nibble at the first thing they see. And if this lurker ever hits, I don't think there is any kind of detection aside from these spider mines. Of course there are spider mines, which are pretty good versus lurkers. But there you go. Oh, another base, and that's a Ninja Expo if there ever was one. And these two vultures and the wraith are coming to come and kill this poor hatchery, and that might be the saving grace. The vultures are holding versus the hydras. Oh, and the mines! The mines! And now the first lurker is there, and the other lurker just barely lives. And oh, this minefield is really expertly being cleaned up by these hydras. And now Charsingik is in a world of trouble. This base is still there, but there is a drone coming to pester it. And more bases, so drone count for Gambot is really getting out of control. And it's still only Zerglings and Hydras and the occasional Lurker. Lurkers are not advancing, just securing the base. A couple of mines here and there, still trying to do stuff. The Wraith is still in there, but with the Overlord, I feel the Wraith isn't long for this world either. There it goes. And this Zergling might eventually tear down this base and all. There is a Hydra coming and a couple of Zerglings. So this distributed kind of Zerg versus Terran I really like. Some Sunkens at every base, so you're not going to lose to just a single Lurker. And another base being taken as well. And the main base, of course, looks like this. So Gambot doing okay. Might pick a game versus a slightly stronger opponent because... replays. Which one have we? We've got one against krasi0, that's a bit much. But we've got one other game too. So let's see how that will go. And as soon as this command center is torn down, I think that this drone will occupy this spot. There are enough minerals, so now the lurkers have advanced. Another base being taken. Gambot really putting all the stops. And it's just a very slow but exponentially growing Zerg army of Zerglings and Hydras. And it's so very, very, very beautiful. So I say good game, and let's hop into the next game because it's two of the new guys. It's Willbot and Brian Weber. Brian Weber has been really working hard round the clock, it seems, pushing updates almost on a bi-daily basis. And it's really starting to show because got the build order down. Going to be some kind of two-hatch aggression play. Oh no, that's not true. At the third base already, handful of Zerglings, and Willbot is a random player, and that I find really impressive if you are going to do a new bot and make it random, and well, you got to fight hard and to fine-tune all of your races. Bunker placement a little bit off, but well, there is bunker placement, it's something to write home about. And the Zerglings are scouting across the map. That's pretty well done. Lots and lots of drones. It's 20 drones, 4 army supply, 18 army supply already on the hands of Willbot, and it's going to be a lot of marines. Gas is being mined as well. I think this is going to be an academy. And these Zerglings are scouting everything quite decently. This marine has, I think, been spotted and is going to be cut down. Yep, that's an academy, it's a comsat, and it's an expansion. So, for a new guy with a random bot, that's pretty good. Just makes an army, makes an academy, makes upgrades, makes a comsat, and makes an eBay. So, where do you go from there? The worker numbers are quite alright, a little bit oversaturated here. Fourth base being taken by Brian Weber. Brian taking all the space it gets, and the quick lair with nothing behind that but a bit of... It's still only 8 Zerglings. And a lot of drones. Look, 40 drones, 4 Zerglings. That's not often you see that. And only 1 marine coming to fend off this Zergling. More Zerglings are coming in, and these marines are... Oh, another one is going to check it out. I think you'll need your homies too, and the medics. One dies, and another one is sent off. It's... Oh god, oh god. And that might be a little bit better because... Oh, the bunker's in range now, so it's going to fight. And now all the marines come off the line to help and stop this Zergling onslaught, which they do pretty effectively. But army micro-wise, it's there is something to be desired. Bunker placement could be better, army could be better, and responsiveness could be better as well. But for a new bot, I say this is okay, and still 6.5 army supply for Zerg, but with 50 workers. And the entire map is being colonized, so I don't really know what we're going to see in the near future. I think a lot of Zerglings. We are already seeing a lot of Zerglings now, and Willbot just going to build a lot of Marines and Medics. That's a valid decision, I would say. One Marine dies, the Medic's in front, but with this nice concave and with this army positioned here, you need a lot of Zerglings to break through that. And I think I heard a stim. And there is no stim, so couldn't have heard that. And we've got Overlord upgrades, we've got armor upgrades, and all the bases save the natural of Terran are now being taken by Zerg. Brian Weber at 70 workers, 16 army supply, and the map is... This is like watching a mixture of Garmbot and TSCMU, but then TSCMU builds bigger armies. These Zerg are going to come in. Oh, and this base has been taken as well. Not really entirely correctly. But I think you're going to need something else than Zerglings to come in here. And Willbot just doing its thing, building depots and units and, well, upgrades. So that's good. Let's see what's coming to come after that. Oh, these two medics are in a little bit too deep. Natural is there, but the army is all sitting back, and that's unfortunate. Because this command center is going to be torn down as well. 87 workers now and 9 army supply. We should be careful not to wall this in completely. And finally we'll see some technology, so that's good. Lots of upgrades by Zerg and no units at all. It's 84 workers, 14 army supply. That's absolutely outrageous. And Zerg might draw this Terran army out a little bit too far. And the Hydras versus these small groups of Marines are not too effective. But the large groups of Marines in the rear are just not doing anything. And then it will be the map versus one base. It will be 103 workers. And there is no way that Brian Weber can spend all this money if it doesn't make any units soon. Ooh, and I want to see what that is. In production. Whoa! Overlords! Oh god, look at that! We've got 10 muters and 20 overlords and more muters all at once. Oh god, that was beautiful. All the eggs, and now, yeah, well, how many overlords have we got? We've got 40 overlords, so with 8 supply each, that's about 320 supply instantly. So no more supply problems to be expected. Of course, these mutants are not going to do anything. We've got 100 workers. I think that's about enough. At all the bases, macro hatches are being built. This is just really beautiful. This Marine medic army isn't really microed properly, but what can you expect from a bot which has just been on the ladder with random for only a couple of days? And Zerg, Brian Weber is really pulling all the stops. It's oh god, what are we seeing? What's being made now? A lot of Zerglings, basically, and a lot of muters. An Ultra Cavern. And I'm going to watch to see this pop. This is going to be plop, a lot of Zerglings. And will we see adrenal glands? Now we've got Zergling speed, got a lot of upgrades, but nothing more. And, well, all these Zerglings, Hydras and Muters are being absorbed by this Marine medic thing. It's going to take a while, I think, for this match to end. And only 99 workers now for Brian Weber. That's unfortunate, but as you can see, quite many of them are coming to come in. But it's like sticking your hand to a meat grinder. This Hydra is blocking the ramp, and these Zerglings are filtering one at a time. That's really unfortunate. And Willbot's mined out. SCV explosions. Got 50 workers of one base. That's pretty good. And this Hydra is not being engaged, so this is going to take forever. Oh, finally a couple of Zerglings move in, but you can see how effective these Marines are. And now Brian Weber is back to 100 supply. What will he build next? And nothing. That's the strange thing, really. Nothing's being built, and the entire army is being spent on this suicide attack. Oh god. And all at once, let's do another wave of Zerglings and Muters, and that's 50 It was down to about 100. That's 60 army supply in a single click being produced. Let's see if we've got any technology which can do better versus these Marines. We've got an Ultra Cavern, we've got more, we've got a Sunken, and look at all these from all angles and directions. Zerglings are pouring in. It's like, oh, the SCV train, and a handful of SCVs are moving out, but they bring some of this to, and the SCVs, oh god, it's going to be a massacre. Willbot with 125 supply. I doubt that it's going to be 125 for too long. A couple of minerals are being ferried in by these SCVs, but then they're going to come down in flames. And Brian Weber at 150 supply, and isn't... Oh, it's building an SCV now. A hatchery, I mean. Somewhere. Oh, here. And for the rest, is nothing. It's just nothing there. Sitting on this huge bank, wasting unit after unit in this melee of Zergling blood. We've got one ult. Oh, we've got an Ultra. That's good. But look at the supply. It's 106. It's like a countdown thing. And then boom! All the screen covers in production tab of Zerglings and Muters. And let's do another wave and another hatchery and another Sunken. But might really do. And the Ultra hasn't got the upgrades. I feel. That's an invisible upgrade. Oh, that's the Ultra Armor. That's good. Adrenal glands are done. So eventually Zerg is going to mine out. But Terran is going to wear out. It's got 63 supply. And these, yeah, 63, 61, 60, 58, 57, 55, 54. And now the game is on again. So this is quite a setup with this mixture of buildings, marines and medics. 52, and Brian Weber is just going to make one huge wave after another and trying to overwhelm the enemy. This wave I feel is not really going to do it, although 45, I think the medics are being targeted, and that might be a problem, because if the medics die, these marines will be in for a hard lunch. The hatchery's still there, one marine venturing out, and I think that's strange, because there is always one marine going off on some wild goose chase. I think it's this one this time. Let's just move forward and see what you can achieve. And the entire map is awash. That was a wave of about... Oh, it's now going to be continuous, and more hatcheries are being built. Where are they being built? Here and there. Just hatcheries all over the place. Can we see how many larvae there are? I want to see how many larvae. No, and this is just not going to work. But the supply count for... Look at all the hatcheries and the hydras and the Zerglings. 42 supply every time a marine gets killed off. The thin blue line wavers a little bit more. 41. And this medic is getting very low. There are only a handful of medics left. And they are, I think, being targeted. Oh, one medic more dies. The other one is trying to be saved by her buddy. But I did say buddy, I did say bunny, right? I'm not going to be sexist with the medics, although they've got a bit of a lush voice. But the medics are holding, the marines are holding 35 supply. But from now on, it's just going to be a continuous stream of Zerglings units. Ah, look at this production tab. This is how you play Zerg. Just stick it in, and all the medics are down. And now, how long will it take for Zerg to be maxed? I think not long, because Willbot, Willbot, it's not Willbot, it's Willbot, is down. And we've got 83 workers and 100. And look at this army, look at this. It's just, there are hatcheries everywhere, and I want to see, look at the production tab, it's out of this world. Oh, we've got 9, 10, 11 larvae. And now Weber is maxed, and the larvae are coming back in force. More hatcheries all over the map. That's the last building. That is the GG bottom match. Willbot, welcome. And let's see what's up next. Another match versus Brian Weber. This time I've taken the liberty to take a replay of Mate Isnik. Mate, of course, is one of the the well-known but not as good Terrans, which hasn't received an update in ages. There are quite a number of those, but as an opponent to test Weber, I think it's okay. And oh well, it's too distracting to have that production tab open. Expansion first, very quick gas, lots of gas being mined, and Mate Istnik is going to, because these later generations of bots are always out on the map, scouting, harassing, being somewhat aggressive, and the older bots, yeah, they could afford to sit back for 10 minutes to do stuff. And well, this is a first scout moving out now, but there are Zerglings out on the map already. So for the time being, on 13 workers, a large percentage of those, oh, that's I like that. Technology at the expansion, that's pretty well done. Worker count wise, Brian Weber okay, and the Zerglings now come in, but this is a much better microed army from Mate Istnik than we saw earlier from Willbot. And there we go. It's just going to be a little bit more ugly with the fire bats, and I dare say we've got we'll see Stim soon too, and then you've got just a deadly mixture, which Brian Weber will need to find a way to handle, and it will need to do so pretty quickly because this death train is approaching his base. Have we got lurker aspect? We haven't. So that might be a little bit of a problem. We've got a 46 army supply, 1 base push. Expansion behind that, and that's going to be, I think, Weber's next challenge to formulate a coherent answer to this kind of play. Last game by Willbot, it got a lot of room to macro. It took all the bases, and I'm not really sure it will be able to do that this game, because Istnik is not going to sit back forever. It's going to build units, it will take the map, will take bases, and I wonder why this army is out here in the middle of the map. It's being reinforced? Not really. No production, just a lot of infrastructure, a lot of buildings being built, and now the death train is moving. And with 2 muters and a drone, you're not really going to stop that. Couple of Sunkens on the high ground, that's good, I feel. Another base being taken and a base being taken there, but this is just a bit of a problem because the army supply for Weber at this moment is 0. And drones do not do all that well versus a 50 supply Terran army with tanks, medics, fire bats and all the lot. So that's I think will be that. Brian Weber taking too many leaves from the Book of Garn, not producing any army at all, is going to devolve rather quickly. And this base being taken down. Now Terran's coming after this one. Drone will be killed off shortly. This Hydra too, and I don't think that Brian Weber will be able to mount an effective force to do battle with the Terran might of Mate Istnik. Mate, a little bit sluggish, taking 20 seconds to supervise the retraction of the creep, but then the war train is back in motion again, and by this time it's 77, it's 80 versus 4, and it doesn't really kill the main, which would be nice, but it's going to come after this one. And with the tanks, it's just going to range down the Sunkens, is not going to dance in and out. That's a much later invention, and basically an invention of University of Alberta bot, with the combat simulator only taking the first couple of units. These 4 Marines take down everything quite well. This base being taken down again. 91 army supply versus 8. Another 2 bases taken by Mate. And Brian Weber's just struggling to find a foothold. And Mate Istnik's going to be maxed. So you'll need some kind of technology. Cloak won't really do it because there is a comsat. There are a lot of comsats. And oh, you're not here. And right now it's... Surely it must have seen where the enemy is. By now. Okay, so Istnik taking a lot of bases, no more comsats here, is maxed. And build hatchery there. Not too bright on the scouting, I must say. Killing an overlord every now and then. Otherwise not really doing much. and the new bots would have scanned all the bases by now. And here comes Terran, has found the enemy. Lots of units being thrown away, but these are all spores, so doesn't really matter. Nice to see that Weber is building spores versus raids, but a lot of fine-tuning needs to be done. That's the GG, and let's take another glance at Willbot. Willbot, of course, new bot versus KonBot here. KonBot basically a basic Terran, and Willbot random. Let's see how his Protoss does. His Terran built a lot of Marines and medics standing around in its main base. A couple of upgrades, not too many. Army micro, not really all that good. Oh, sorry. And one zealot is dealing with the Terran incursion, while the other zealots are staying back at home. And KonBot is just moving back to base. Academy finished. What kind of technology do we see from Willbot? Nothing too drastic, not even a core. No gas is being mined either. So Willbot now at 49 supply, a little bit sluggish with the pylons, no kind of prediction of when it will need. Oh well, that's nice. I take that back. Expansion being taken. And expansion being taken at the other side of the map as well. One unit getting out to scout, and the other units all stay right at home. And these zealots eat these marines for breakfast, but they really should do something about this Nexus being under attack. Perhaps take a position here at the natural choke. Oh, that's the forge. I think that's going to be a +1. That would be a nice thing to have versus Terran. Terran going to be M&M, medic marine. And Protoss with a lot of units, but oh, a cannon, that's nice. Now the Protoss war train is fighting, coming to grips with these marines, but there are just too many marines. And the marines are going to tear down the natural cannon. Not really well placed, but the functionality is there. And I really, that's the cyber core, 4 dragoons. And KonBot, of course, is getting a lot of time, just going to build his endless stream of medic marine. And Protoss fighting for what it's worth, but at this moment the worker numbers are double for KonBot. The base numbers are nearly triple. And if you've got a stimmed M&M army at your gates, you're going to have to fight pretty hard to be able to deal with them. +1 zealots do pretty well, even in the face of insurmountable odds, but these marines are just too wild and will kill you. Now, anything interesting going on at KonBot? No, just going to be barracks, 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 marines and depots and SCVs and more barracks, and yeah, that's how you win. GG. Okay, so well, I had a bit of an order for these matches, but it's messed up. I'll do one more game of Willbot, this time as Protoss again. Of course, I can't really predict what's going to be, as it's a random bot. At the other end of the map, we've got Forcebot by it's from the Gold Project, University of Delft, and I think it's the only bot which is being regularly updated. So that's interesting to see how far the Gold platform can go if these accomplishments of this one coder are anything to go by. Handful of Zerglings versus one Zealot and another Zealot and a couple of drones, 2 more Zealots. So for the time being, Willbot holds with 3 gates, and that's just going to be not just going to be a lot of Zerglings, because we've got a creep colony and another building. I think it's going to be a hatch. Nice SimCity, Hydra Den, all of one base. That's a bit ballsy. By now, handful of Zerglings. And any kind of upgrades yet, we've got Zergling speed and a handful of Zealots. The Zealots are again too far in the rear, and I think if you take this expansion you it has some troubles. Oh, it's got the money now. Again, yeah. You'd really want to defend here. Now the Hydras are there, and if Forcebot has got any kind of micro, these, oh no, they won't be caught. No, surely not. If the Hydra numbers get critical, only if they're of one base. Oh, and another base by Forcebot. That's pretty good. I'm going to speed it up. Just as you can see, nothing too much is happening. The Zerg army is going to tear down the entire probe line. And the Zealots come off to defend, but they're only coming to hug the probe line. A couple of them die out there. Oh, and we've got one Lurker. That's pretty good, because a Lurker is hard to counter. And it takes its first probe kill and all the Zealots it could ever want. So that's one of these units, like a siege tank, like a carrier. Just by having that unit, you force the enemy to have some kind of rather sophisticated code to deal with it. And another Lurker is coming. So the stake, oh yeah, what's the... No. Oh, there we go. I'd say Willbot is in a bit of a quandary. There is a cannon now and a couple of goons which are standing in range of the building under attack. The principle is sound, but if there are two Lurkers you might do something a little bit more. And Forcebot really rather low on the drone count and not really producing all that many units. Only got 2 hatches. Hasn't got too much money. And the Lurkers, what are they going to do? Are they going to try and come up the ramp? There will be 2 cannons soon, so there are 3 Lurkers now. And it's always nice to see these new players go at each other. It's like yeah, that's a quick kill. Just nice to see what they can do already. And Forcebot is going to sit back-ish, building a couple of units. Taking down the goon. There they come, but the cannons are up on the high ground and the Lurkers on the low ground, so that doesn't really match. But the algorithm of Willbots appears to be move units over to something that is under attack, and if you haven't got any kind of mobile detection, it's going to be a bit of a hard lot for the units being sent over. That I like. That's a Citadel of Adun, and then you can build Templar Archives. Perhaps with Storm or Dark Templar something might be arranged to break out of this. Meanwhile, the occasional human or proto sacrifice lots and lots and lots of Lurkers. A couple of Hydras in the rear, 1 Storm. Oh, one which perhaps you might hit the edge of that, perhaps. It would be so nice to storm this or that, it's just so juicy. And camping the low ground, Willbot just can't get out. Oh, and there they come, but with the lots and lots of firepower on the high ground. A couple of... Oh, if you move into this Lurker field, you're not going to be a happy camper. All the goons are coming to go down in flames. Third base being taken by Forcebot. Forcebot rather slow, but appears to have quite a bit of functionality. So if that were sped up a little bit, it might eventually evolve into something rather nice. Willbot, sorry, I shouldn't call you Willbot. Willbot is out of minerals. It's got, oh no, it's got not even got 1 patch left. 4th base being taken by Forcebot. Forcebot just pouring in the units. 1 more Lurker, but nothing going up the ramp. And just going to keep on the army here. Lots of Lurkers, lots of Hydras, bases being taken. Oh, and eventually one might reach the high ground, and then there might be an attack or something. They're gathering for an attack. There we go. And every time we get a glance in the high... Oh, the poor probes! Oh god! And now the battle is on, and even though these goons have got a good position, I feel there are just too many Hydras at this point. A hive coming up, that's pretty good, and all the bases on the map are slowly being taken by Forcebot. Forcebot, not really impressing me, but the functionality is there, and if you get some kind of, if you gear that up and get some kind of traction, it might really grow into something nice, because I really like the gold platform with their reasoning. Oh, and now finally the Lurkers move up the ramp. So very good game by, albeit a little bit slow, good game for and by Forcebot. Willbot has got some work to do on the army micro, but if you are starting a bot and a random bot at that, work to do is an understatement. So next game, it's Alien by Sylvie and Thomas Vidas, Xim the carrier bot, which we saw earlier in a gruesome game versus Purple Wave with the Dark Archons. And now we have got a Zergling party at the choke by Alien. A nice big Zergling party. And the first carriers are already being built. And nothing's being done there. So that's a bit of a waste, I feel. Third base being taken. What kind of technology will we see? We've got muters, we've got the spores available for anti-air. And... well, basically you you might run down this cannon thing with all these links you've got. Third base being taken by Xim. The muters. Oh, that's an interesting development. The muters are taking down the goon. This one's a little bit out of range, but it's a bit damaged as well. So the carriers are now going to have to come off the line, and as soon as Xim spots anti-air or air units, it will make Corsairs. So the carrier weapon will be late. And now with the Scourge and the muters, I think that Alien is in a good position to take a game of Xim. Oh, that Corsair basically it suicided itself on the Scourge. And now the muters and the Scourge are coming to come in and take down these carriers pretty easily, especially since the third base is not yet up. Oh, the third base is not yet. The fourth base is not yet up. The Lings are going to retire, and the first group of carriers is out. And it will only remain for Alien to get its gas mining going and do enough Scourge hits on these carriers to kill them. That said, you need a lot of Scourge to kill both the Corsairs and the carriers of a 3-base Protoss, so that might be a little bit of a problem. But 4th base is ready, 5th base is being started, and Protoss is still in the middle of the map, and a lot of Scourge are out already. So, yeah, what will you do? Alien, surprise me. Take a game of this Protoss gentleman, Thomas Weider. And there comes the Scourge, and they split too much. They need to focus on a particular carrier or on a couple of Corsairs. No spore colonies here. Lots of Scourge, but they're not really doing anything, and that's going to be a bit of a problem. Corsairs going down, but the real problem is going to be these carriers. There are still 4 of them. And the Scourge are having a hard time deciding when to attack, and that's going to be a problem, because if the Corsair number reaches about 5, it will become, with AI micro of course, impregnable to Scourge. And you can see a lot of Overlords dying as well, so in the near future Alien will probably be supply blocked. Although it's got the map. If this... where is the Spire? The Spire is bound to be somewhere. Or was it? I think the Spire was out here and it got killed. And the Scourge are coming... no, they are dying needlessly. That's unfortunate, to say the least. And Xim is just sticking with Corsairs. So lots of Corsairs, couple of carriers, but that might just do the trick, because at this point Alien just can't mount an effective defense. And let's see how it's going to come out. Lots of Zerglings. Zerg supply blocked. The carriers are out here. And if the lair dies, you're not going to rebuild a spire anytime soon. Is there a spire somewhere? There isn't. There isn't a spire, there isn't a den. There is no kind of anti-air possible. The lair dies, and the Zerg is just in a mess. And that's the game. I can't even see who ended it, but I'm going to give the game to Thomas Weiders. Sim. And penultimate game, Brian Weber versus Oyvind Johannesson. Johannesson, of course, is another random player, this time rolled Protoss, and I always like to see how random players are doing, because either you're going to have to sink quite a lot of work in each separate race, and then you get something like TSCMU, if it were to bundle all its functionality in one bot, or something really basic like Oprimobot. It's going to be a lot of work to maintain all the separate races, because the AI is not general. It's very specific, race specific, map specific, unit specific. And ooh, the zealous pressure is on, taking one kill for taking a drone kill. Now these Zerglings take one back, And it's really hard to see on this map because one player is brown, the other one is orange, and it's a bit of a muddy map as it is. So this looks like, this looks like something really strange. So we've got a citadel, we've got a starport, we've got one gate, we've got a zealot and a goon, and a handful of zerglings. So nothing's going to come of that, I fear. And the zealot is moving back, so the goon dies. That's unfortunate. We've got a sunken coming up. We've got a Templar archives, and is this going to be some kind of Corsair Dark Templar play? Let's watch and find out. So 2 bases for Zerg. Brian Weber took a lot of bases, but it's not really switching gears quickly enough. We've got 2 Corsairs, which might be out on the map chasing overlords. The Protoss land army is doing quite well against these Zerglings. Yep, there it goes. 3rd base being taken by Zerg. And no, have we got Dark Templars? We've got one somewhere. But as this is versus Zerg, it's going to be a bit of a... Oh, here it is. It's going to be difficult to kill off Zerg with all these overlords flying about if you're doing 1 base Dark Templars. Oh, 2nd base coming up, really grand. Another, I hope there's going to be a star gate coming up. And now the question is, where is that Dark Templar? Is it here? Is it still in existence? It is somewhere, but I don't know where. In the main? Not in the main either. It's not here, it's not there. The goon is going to die to the Hydras, and I would really like to know where this one Dark Templar is. It's really hard to see. This is a Zealot. That's 2 Corsairs chasing a drone. That's not really optimal either. Oh, they are engaging the power generators. And I must say I'm really surprised by the way some of these bots, how they deal with power generators. Some seem to love them, others seem to want to kill them, or actually do kill them. No, that's not the Dark Templar either. And there is a Dark Templar somewhere, but I can't for the life of me find... Oh, here it is, here it is, here it is. Let's keep an eye on it. Where is it going? It's going on a secret mission to find a hidden crystal, and no crystal here. Lots of bases meanwhile being taken by Brian Weber. Brian Weber being slow with the army again. 3 army supply, 45 workers, that's really something. And the Dark Templar is coming back from his mission, and we'll find some Hydras here, but he's not interested in them. We'll find an enemy base, and that's more like it. 1 drone. Oh, and immediately the drones are being transferred. That's pretty good. Pretty smart thinking. And the drones are mis-microed, so they die every once in a while. No defenses here, so you... Oh, that's going to be a bit of a nasty thing, but still only 3 army supply by Brian Weber. It's got 2k minerals stacked, and that's something to work on. Meanwhile, no tech, nothing. And Protoss is really stacking a lot of money as well, so that's... I'm going to keep the production tab open. All bases are taken now, and still we've got 9 army supply. We've got Spire in production, lots of armies. Oh, and all the power generators have finally snuffed it. And Oyvind has got a lot of money and is not really producing anything sensible whatsoever. And this 8 army supply, or there's 9 army supply, which was originally 8, just going to win the game for Zerg, it seems like. But for Protoss we see a handful of Dark Templars, and they can do a little bit, but not too much. And I'm really puzzled by Zerg. What's it? The composition, 40 overlords. Again, 40 overlords, that's quite a bit. Protoss has got all the tech in the world and all the money in the world, but it's not really doing anything. And is now producing a huge wave of Zerglings and Hydras, because if you've got this much money you can just build 100 Zerglings and throw them at the enemy, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the GG. If you're ever going to play Brian Weber, Don't let it sit back for a quarter of an hour, you will get overrun and die. So the number 1 versus the number 2, last game of this broadcast, going to be krasi0 versus Ironbot. krasi0 as the green Terran and Ironbot as the yellow Terran. Ironbot hasn't been receiving updates as regularly as krasi0 has, so yeah, there we go. And the first bit of harass is on, but krasi0 keeping the high ground and fending off this vulture rather easily. So that's nothing new. Vulture dies, krasi0 has the map, I'd say, for the time being. And we'll see how that is going to devolve. Iron going for a Wraith, taking in the air, and krasi0 instead mining up the map. Will this... no, the Goliath will just miss it. krasi0 with going to be an expansion, might be a good time. Got the money, or is it going to build some kind of defense here first? I don't know, and it looks like it's a little bit off on the command center placement. I noticed that earlier, I noticed it last week, but for the time being krasi0's got the, well, I'd say superior army with the Goliath, and I am still relying a lot on vultures, and vultures are okay, but if you are facing Goliaths and tanks and wraiths, it's going to be a bit of a problem. And of course krasi0 with the earlier expansion, Iron will take an advantage in army supply, but versus the vultures and the wraiths, the vultures think they can take this, but one more Goliath is coming. Of course there is a wraith overhead, and krasi0, I feel, is in a good position because he's out on the map, he's not being harassed as well. Well, he is being harassed, but there are Goliaths back at home as well. And the Wraith is being pursued, and this Goliath is going to defend the SCVs from the vulture harass. So krasi0, I feel, can do 3 things at once. That's pretty impressive. This Wraith is getting pretty low, is being tailed by this Goliath still. It's got pretty good memory. And the Wraith will have to back off. And krasi0's got the base operational, albeit in a really awkward position. And now chasing vultures on the map with the Wraith and the tanks and the Goliath. Not venturing out too far, but just doing a little bit of damage, keeping these vultures occupied, and only now 2 tanks for Ironbot. Ironbot doing everything off 1 base, and that's okay, but krasi0's got 11 workers more, has got the natural operational, has got the extra gas income, albeit only half of it, as the distance between the command center and the refinery is just too big. And krasi0 now finding 2 tanks of Irons on the high ground, 2 Wraiths, find them, exactly. And Iron now with the turret building some kind of protection. This tank isn't protected, so that's another little drain on the income of Ironbot. Ironbot having mined up all the bases, that's good. And now krasi0 is coming into a well-defended high ground position of Ironbot. Pretty well done. This vulture, of course, is going to get sniped, and that's a bit of the trade-off Ironbot's got going at the moment. It's got superior movement, and it's got superior position with this high ground placement, but it's losing too many vultures. Of course, it's in an okay position now, it's got the natural up, but it's about 15 supply down, and that's in TVT. Any deficit you've got to fight hard for to make up, and krasi0 keeping a lot of tanks at the natural choke, although that's not really necessary. There is one, there was one tank there, but krasi0 getting the quicker draw on the siege tank siege and kills them off. So that's all good and dandy. So krasi0 with his own position being endangered now by these advancing tanks of Ironbot with the repair, that's good. Might bring some more SCVs to the line to repair. And Iron with all these vultures, they are not just doing as much as they ought to do, because krasi0 is so on point with I'd say that, but there is a vulture running in. Usually so on point with the defense, and krasi0 should take a 3rd base, because whoever can get a 3rd base up now is in a golden position to take this game. And that is another. krasi0 is slowly but surely sieging and now fortifying its own high ground. So this is a bit of a battle of the canal. You've got the krasi0 high ground and the Ironbot high ground, and you've got to force your way up there with tanks, with Wraiths, with the Goliath support. Iron just lost 2 Wraiths here with a little bit sloppy action, And now krasi0 is with the extra air cover, is advancing upon the position. Oh, and this base is going to be torn down by the vulture. Vulture's still pretty good. SCV trying to make its way out, but not succeeding. And krasi0 can't get a third base up. That's a nice position for a tank for all kinds of vulture harass. But krasi0 here winning the battle for the high ground. And although it's losing a bit in supply, that's not really good. Ironbot getting a third base up, so this game is not over by any stretch. And that might be due in part to this command center being badly placed. krasi0 unable to take a third base, and if Iron gets that third base up, it's got a supply advantage already, and this push by krasi0 can't possibly be sustained in a 2 versus 3 base situation. krasi0's tank micro is not that good, and let's see how he does it. Tanks for Iron are just moving slightly out of range. Vultures are coming to come in with the mines. One tank! No, the tank lives, and that was a really costly attack for Ironbot. That was about 20 supply, and Ironbot will have to retreat because it hasn't got the air cover. It's got the superior position, but krasi0 with these floating barracks and e-base is just in a way better position with the air cover and can keep up with a 2 versus 3 base situation. Now krasi0 going for another base here, and Iron immediately sends off a couple of vultures. krasi0 trying to screen it up with a vulture of his own, and of course there is one dedicated Goliath here to help and defend that, but there are just too many Goliath vultures out for Iron, and the map in general is just pretty unsafe. There are mines everywhere, there are vultures everywhere. The only thing that krasi0's got going for it is this tank push with the buildings, now with the science vessel as well, and if he can put pressure on this third and push these tanks back, he'll be in a golden position. But until then, he's got to have to fight really hard and really well. And you can see, if you look at the minimap, this beautiful concave. You've got a couple of units here, a couple of units there, and krasi0 is just being surrounded. And that said, krasi0 is going to have to fight really hard because you've got this high ground sloping down onto these bridges, and that's a perfect position to defend, especially as a Terran. But the third base is now up, and going to speed it up just a notch because these kind of static situations can go on forever. And there we go, Iron fighting hard, pushing krasi0 back. These bridges cannot be taken. Supply wise, krasi0 a little bit ahead now, 3 versus 3 base and the better micro, but now Iron is pushing. Iron is pushing, and this TVT is so very beautiful, and only when another floating building comes, the previous one has been shot down by Iron, krasi0 can hope to do something to retaliate. 4th base up by Iron now, but krasi0's also got its 4th base. And economy wise, these are dead even, and it's just these floating buildings with the tanks behind them and the Goliaths taking down the occasional Wraith that krasi0 is able to push, and able to push across these bridges. And pushing across bridges as a Terran, that is by no means an easy thing to do, and there might be a little more SCVs on the front line, but krasi0 with these buildings is pushing very hard, and if he can range down this command center, he'll be golden. And now taking more bases, the balance of the game switching in favor of krasi0, and if he wins a couple of more large-scale battles, because Iron will need to defend this base, otherwise this one will get cut off, and then you've got the production here and the economy here, and krasi0 will be free to take that. krasi0 with a well-fortified position, no vulture going to get in there, no vulture going to get, oh well, there is no tank here or any kind of ground defense, so that might be a bit of a bummer. But krasi0 now slowly with the tank line, having scaled the bridges, coming down from the high ground over the bridges, taking the upper bridge, and now only 2 tanks on this upper defense of the 3rd base of Iron. And that's going to be, these buildings are suffering. They are suffering, but it's only about 300 minerals, and it's not really, they are providing so much vision for krasi0 that it's going to be unfair in the long run. And krasi0 now bearing down on this base. The mining is stopping already, so Iron will be hard pressed to do something about that. A tank and a Wraith. Wraith for vision, tank for firing power at this base. Iron is folding, and that's the game. So that's the reason why krasi0 at this point is the undisputed leader of the pack. This was this week's broadcast, the Student StarCraft AI Tournament. Hope to see you again next week. The games are getting better and better. Welcome to Willbot. and congratulations for Brian Weber to make his bot into a potential monster. And that's also for Forcebot. Needs a bit of work on the on-pointness, but other than that I see a lot of potential there as well. So, hope to see you again next week. For now I say goodbye.